French forward Hugo Ekitike has finally completed his transfer to Liverpool. A player once snubbed by Paris Saint Germain, the 23-year-old now, it seems, is ready to terrorise Premier League defences. So, remember the name, because the next time you hear it, there's a good chance Hugo Ekitike could be scoring against your club. This new-look Liverpool attack is gonna be scary. Hugo Ekitike was born and raised in Reims, France, progressing through his hometown Dubs youth system before breaking into the first team, where he scored an impressive 10 goals in 26 games. During his formative years, the young Ekitike was sent to Denmark on loan in a bid to learn his trade before heading back to France. Of course, it wasn't long before he'd caught the attention of one of France's biggest clubs, Paris Saint Germain, who were, by 2023, seriously beginning to look at the succession plan for when Kylian Mbappe finally made the move to Real Madrid, in what remains football's worst-kept secret. That Mbappe transfer would finally happen in the summer of 2024, but PSG wanted to have a closer look at the young Ekitike while Mbappe was still around. So, took him on loan before signing him permanently, while the current Madrid man was still there in 2023. Unfortunately for the youngster, Paris came a touch too early. Ekitike was simply too raw and needed minutes in a team where he was playing every week as the main man. Lack of game time under then manager Christopher Galtier and later Luis Enrique meant the youngster's development stalled. Through no fault of his own, he rather unsurprisingly found it quite difficult to dislodge Mbappe, Messi and Neymar from the PSG attack. But he really should be commended for the confidence he showed in himself by signing for the French champions with those three leading the line at the time. So, with the difficulty he was facing getting a game in Paris, not to mention the fact that the PSG system wasn't quite designed for a striker with Ekitike's qualities, a decision had to be made. Enter Eintracht Frankfurt. Before we dive in, hit like and subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest happenings in the Premier League. The Germans, known for their eye for a bargain and driving a hard one when selling players, had identified Ekitike as a player in the mold of one Thierry Henry, a raw talent who could be shaped into a world-class player with just a little bit of work. And it's safe to say Dino Topmuller, Eintracht boss since 2023, did that work with aplomb. The German had identified the fact that Ekitike wasn't a bad player, he was simply playing in the wrong system at PSG, a system which, quite reasonably, was designed to get the best of one Lionel Messi. You might have heard of him. Let us know in the comments if you think Ekitike should have stayed at PSG and battled for his place. With a move to a new country and the new system, the Frenchman, who has 2 French league titles to his name with PSG, began to flourish. Thanks to the confidence in him shown by Topmuller, Ekitike rediscovered his own confidence and showed that arguably he performs best in a counter-attacking system. And it just so happens, Eintracht Frankfurt, who have perfected that style in recent years, played to his strengths. First signing on loan for the remainder of the season in February 2024, Ekitike made his debut for the club as a substitute 2 days after signing. His first goal came on April 18th in a 3-1 win against Augsburg, and exactly a week later, the Germans activated the €16.5 million option to buy in his loan deal. Ekitike celebrated the deal with a goal the very next day, in a 2-1 defeat at Bayern Munich. A smart right-footed finish from the edge of the box, the Bundesliga was beginning to take notice of Frankfurt's new number 11. Ekitike continued his development the following season, scoring 22 goals in 48 games, including a sumptuous long-range strike against Tottenham in the Europa League. So, with a goals per game average of just under 1 in 2 last season, the first season of his career approaching anything near prolific, why should Premier League teams be so scared of Ekitike next season? Well, it's not just goal scoring the 6'3" frontman offers. Fast and agile, the young striker is quick off the mark and is extremely direct. And as the old saying goes, if there's one thing big defenders don't enjoy playing against, it's pace. Ekitike is tailor-made for battles with English-style centre-backs. Not only is he quick, but he's strong in equal measure and doesn't mind a ding-dong with burly central defenders. He also offers intelligent movement and can go either way. Another attribute defenders famously don't like is attackers running directly at them. Ekitike will make a defender commit, often forcing them into errors when hitting them on rapid counterattacks. The young striker is also a relatively composed finisher for his age. While he bagged 22 goals across all competitions last time out, there is definitely still room for improvement. Liverpool are not getting the finished article, but there are plenty of strings to the Ekitike bow for them to be excited about. Highly versatile, the 23-year-old can play as a lone striker in the style of, say, a Didier Drogba as a false nine, a La Roberto Firmino, or as a wide forward in the mold of a Cody Gakpo. The most likely role he'll be employed to play in is probably the out-and-out number 9 position. If Liverpool choose to play with a false 9, they'll almost certainly opt for Florian Wirtz in that position, most likely away from home, which will allow them to pack the midfield with physically bigger players. The Reds are also well stocked on the wings with Salah, Diaz, and Gakpo, so it's likely he'll not be needed there. That's assuming Diaz stays put, of course. That just leaves the out-and-out striker role, where Liverpool have been left short in recent years thanks to the failed experiment that has been Darwin Núñez. It appears that with Ekitike's arrival, one of either Diaz or Núñez is likely to leave. Diaz is a fan favourite and is a guaranteed threat, so it's likely that Liverpool will look to move Núñez on before the Colombian. That would free up the central striking role for Ekitike to take advantage of. If you're enjoying this video so far, hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Where do you think the Frenchman will see most of his minutes for the Reds? Something else Premier League defenders will need to think about is Hugo's motivation. There is no greater threat than the wounded animal, and after his failure at PSG, the young forward has something of a point to prove. Yes, he began to prove what he's all about with his outstanding year in Germany last term, but he'll need to build on that promising return to form. If he attacks his first few months at Liverpool in the same vigor that he did with an Eintracht shirt on, with the same swagger and that chip on the shoulder attitude, then Premier League defenders, they'll have a serious proposition on their hands. Ekitike needs to prove he is the young, hungry lion it increasingly looks like he is. The French striker will be eager to set the record straight and show that he hasn't let the disappointment of Paris affect him permanently. If he brings the fearlessness he showed in a Frankfurt shirt, and there's no reason why he wouldn't, then he could easily become one of the league's top marksmen. There's no doubt that the weight of the Liverpool number 9 shirt can hang heavy. True greats of the club, from Rush and Fowler to Torres and Firmino, truly world-class players, have led the line for the Anfield outfit down the years. For Ekitike to perform, he simply needs to forget about that weight of expectation. We've all seen how the shirt has drained the confidence of Darwin Núñez in recent seasons. Ekitike can't let that happen. While no shirt numbers have been confirmed as of right now, it's likely the Frenchman will take the number 9 if and when Núñez leaves, maybe even if he doesn't. We mentioned earlier how Ekitike thrived in Frankfurt's counter-attacking system, a system designed to cater to lightning-fast players who are quick in the transition. But as we all know, this isn't how Liverpool operate. The Reds dictate the tempo and play a possession brand based of football, hunting in packs to win the ball once they lose it. PSG played a similar system during Ekitike's time in Paris, but he rarely started, so he remains relatively untested in this sort of scenario. However, modern footballers, they're a malleable bunch, and thanks to wide-ranging systems being played all over Europe, Ekitike will be well aware of what is expected of him as a centre-forward for Liverpool FC. A lot will depend on his first touch and how he brings runners into play. If he can channel his inner Robert Firmino and act as a foil for those around him, then Anfield will be his oyster. If he doesn't, and he can't be relied upon to do the job, then it could very quickly turn into a Darwin Núñez-shaped nightmare. We know Arne Slot doesn't tend to play with overlapping wingers delivering crosses into the box, but with the addition of Jeremy Frimpong and Milos Kerkez this summer, a more direct style of play could be an option, considering Ekitike's height. At 6'3", there aren't many defenders around the Premier League who are going to bully the Frenchman in the air. With all these options, Ekitike represents a highly versatile option for Liverpool's Dutch boss, which makes his signing all the more intriguing. Hugo Ekitike is not a failed wonderkid. He's a player who went to PSG at a time when they had arguably the most enviable front three in their history of football. The confidence he showed in himself to go there at the time, when most other players would have opted to remain a big fish in a small pond, is highly impressive. With that experience now in his rear view, Ekitike comes to the Premier League as a new man, and when he lines up against Bournemouth at Anfield on the opening day of the season, defenders won't know what hit them. them. What do you guys think? Is Hugo Ekitike going to do the business at Liverpool? Or is he more likely to go a similar way to the likes of El Hadji Diouf? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe for more Premier League deep dives in the near future.